Hey guys, welcome to another episode of PB Garage. This episode we're going to be looking at my subwoofer and amp install on my 2007 A4. I did it without splicing any wires or even removing my head unit, so I'm going to show you the equipment I used and then how I went about installing it without splicing any wires. The head unit I'm using for this setup is an OEM RNS-E MK2 head unit. So this is retrofitted from a newer Audi into this my 2007 A4. The MK2 version, which has a nicer LCD screen, which you can tell by the glossy bezel around it. The nice thing about it, other than the glossy bezel, is that the amplifier in it is actually a lot stronger than the MK1 version, so you get a nicer output to your speakers with this unit. Surprisingly, it actually amplifies the rear speakers as well through the amp. Somehow maybe the gain is just set higher on these, but the overall performance of this for the OEM setup actually works quite nicely. So this has been retrofitted in a while ago. I have a Bluetooth connector on the back, so I can just wirelessly stream music to this by just hitting this, and it's been working quite nicely. So I haven't had to remove this for this install. You can get away as well with just using aftermarket head unit if you want, and kind of go about what I'm doing in this video, but this is just working for me. It looks good, and I enjoy the performance of this. So I have two 10-inch JL Audio 4 ohm specific subwoofers. I've got them wired in parallel, so that way it's a 2 ohm output for my amp. The amp, which is sitting underneath this false floor here, is a Rockford Fosgate. Whoa. You kind of see the 2x4 propping everything up. I'll show you that later. So it's a Rockford Fosgate 500.1 amplifier. It's an AB amp, not a Class D, so just not as efficient as a Class D, but still does the job. I have a line out converter in here that I'll show you in a second here that's running off the OEM amp, and I'll show you where I started, which is at the front of the engine. The front here I have my 4-gauge lead coming off the battery terminal here. You could come into this cover and come off this nut, but you'd have to do like a right angle connector like this one, or drill out this little cover so that way it clamps down. I just went with a little spade terminal on this. You want to make sure you're going to be using either this terminal or that terminal. You do not want to use this terminal. If you use this terminal, it's actually meant for the rest of your car, and this is actually fusible link here. It doesn't look like it, it's exposed, it's just a little blade, but that's a fusible link for the rest of your car. So if you increase the load on that, then you're going to potentially pop. It's essentially a breaker or fuse, and you want to make sure you're using this one or this guy. Ran it to my fuse. I just zip tied it to my AC line, put a little loom here to protect it a little bit as well, and then fed it into a grommet in there. So I took the battery out just so I could feed it in there, and then that feeds into your footwell, which is pretty easy to grab and then pull through the rest of the car. Feeding that power wire is pretty easy to stuff under these trims here. You can pull them all off and tuck it away as nice as you want. And then that feeds. I've got a little bit of extra here. This is where I kill the rest of my power wire. I hate shortening power wire, so anyways, I just lubed it here. While we're in here, you see my ground is terminated at the seatbelt buckle terminal here, which is a fairly good ground. It's clean. The bolts and everything there is already clean, so you don't have to grind anything away. And then that just feeds under the seat. And you can see here, it feeds here, and I had to drill, I'll show you the other side here, of just this plastic cover to get the wires in, and then it feeds into the amplifier there. So nice and clean. That's the only wire I had to feed from the front of the car was the power. The rest of them I'll show you in the back. So in the trunk area, I have my amp set up, and it's going to be underneath the false floor that the wagons happen to have. It's got this nice lower tray that you can sneak some stuff into. So my amp's going to sit in here, but because it's a little bit taller than what's allowed, kind of just in that void here of your false floor, I'm not going to be able to rehinge my cover, so I'm using those as provisions to run a couple wires through. You see my power and ground I drilled 2 holes in that tray to just connect them into the amp. And what I'll do is I'll just put some self-tapping screws into this mat here to fix the amp down, and I'll probably prop up the false floor with something, maybe some 2x4s. I think Barry's done something like that. So I've got my blue remote turn on lead for the amp, which is running through that hinge area. Same with my speaker wire cable. I've left it pretty long, just so I could take my sub out if need, and then do whatever I want, kind of to disconnect it or put it back in, move it around. And I've also got my RCA cables also going through that hinge area, and the RCA and remote line feed around to here. So my RCA cables are pretty long. Typically what you do with your RCA cables is you run them to your head unit, snake them through kind of like your power wire into your amp, but because of my setup I'm able to not avoid that kind of wiring length, so I had to kill a lot of the wire here, which maybe I'll try to get some shorter cables just so I don't have all this extra resistance and cabling. But anyways, I zip tied it all up with my remote wire, and I'll just sneak it into here kind of thing, so that way once I put the panel cover on this side it'll all disappear. I carried that through into some loom, just so that way as it comes up to my line out converter, which I'll zip tie somehow to the back of this OEM amp. So this is the OEM NON Bose amp. I'm still using it because this powers my rear door speaker, so I have to keep this active. If you had I think the Bose system, you don't, I'm not too sure, but anyways, these power the rear door speakers and the OEM sub. So this goes out to your rear door speakers and spreads out through the body, and then this goes into your OEM sub. And what I've done is I've went to a junkyard, grabbed a connector, wired it into my line out converter, and the line out converter has 2 inputs, left speaker, right speaker, but you really only need one, so the other one I've just kind of is redundant. And then you have a ground, which I'm just using one of the OEM subwoofer box bolt locations, and I had to clean up just the body side of this, so that way I had a good contact. But what's nice about this specific line out converter is that it also has a remote amplifier turn on signal. So when this thing gets signal from this amp turns on, and then it will allow a signal to go on and turn your amp on. Otherwise what you have to do is you have to run that blue wire all the way to your head unit, or try to tap into one of these wires here as well, just to give it that signal to turn on. So by doing it this way, all I've had to do is sacrifice a junkyard wiring harness and then tie it in, and there's no wires that you had to splice at all. I've just bolted this on to another connection from the OEM subwoofer housing here, so this is just going to live here now. Once the panel's on, you're not even going to see it. This I'll probably just zip tie to the back of this amp, and it's going to be a nice little clean installation with 0 wires spliced. So once I tuck that up over here, and that's pretty much it. I'll get this buttoned all up and then show you what it looks like. One thing that's nice about using the OEM subwoofer output for my RCA line out converter is that this output is actually controllable from my head unit, because it was controlling the OEM sub, so you kind of adjust your bass levels and increase the OEM subwoofer level in a stock configuration. But by doing it in this way is I can still control that RCA input into the sub or the amp, and control the overall gain of my system from my head unit. The alternative, which a lot of guys do, which is fine, is that you run a remote controller from here, and that's a little knob that adjusts the gain of this amp, but it's another wire you have to run to your dash, you have to bolt it in somewhere, and then it's a little knob that you kind of adjust, as a lot of guys do, which is totally fine. But now I don't have to run that because I can just purely control it from my head unit. So I just need to adjust what gain as a base I want for this, because it has its own little gain adjustment here. So I'm messing around with that. Same with the frequency, what you want to listen to. Once I have that dialed in, and then ultimately I control the overall gain of my subwoofer to whatever I want from my head unit. So I don't need any aftermarket little knobs or anything like that. It's all nice and clean, and no additional hardware. Here's the final install. So I've got the false floor in. You can kind of see it tapering up. I put a 2x4 underneath there in front of the amp, so that way it kind of props that false floor up off the amp, and then just sat the box right on top. Looks pretty good. The OEM Audi stuff has these hooks here. There's another one back there, so I'm going to figure out a way to just kind of get a bungee cord or something strap around to just strap it down so I can undo it if I need to launch some stuff in here and swing the box out of the way. Nothing too permanent. And what's nice is that now without that OEM subwoofer box, I've got all this space in here. I can jam a pile of stuff in if I need. That's the OEM amp. So it's again just zip tied to the line out converter that goes to the amp, and pretty clean install otherwise. And that's it. So real quick, I just want to show you the OEM subwoofer boxes. I have the NON Bose here, and then the Bose specific on this side. You can see they used a different material to finish the boxes in. The subwoofers are actually, this one's actually quite beefy compared to the NON Bose. The amplifier for the subwoofer lives right here. It gets bolted on. There's a bigger amp here for the Bose that lives here, but what I've done is I've taken that OEM NON Bose amp, and that's what lives there, and that's what gives you all that space by taking these boxes out, so you can stick more stuff in places. Alright guys, so that's it for this episode. Hopefully that helps some of you guys with your setup, your subs and amps, and how to wire it. 2 10 inches is certainly more than what you need on a daily. You can probably get away with just a single 10, and or trying to retrofit an 8-inch sub into that existing box. That's something that I've been considering, and maybe I'll do in a future episode on trying to keep everything tucked away into the sides without really seeing anything. But anyways, hopefully this helps some of you. Any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section down below, and we'll be happy to answer them. Take care.